Hello, and welcome back to the Quick Pod. My name's Alex. I'm joined by that guy over there.
My name is Ben. Welcome to the Quick Pod.
Yeah, I said welcome back, and we've never been here.
Well, that's fine. Well, welcome back. Today, we're going to be going over all the notable music releases in the month of January.
Notable album releases. We have about 14 here that we both listened to. Some bigger names like Bad Bunny, Mac Miller, and then some smaller ones that I think we both think deserve some more attention, and everything in between. We're ranking everything from the best to the buns, the worst, S tier to the buns tier.
The best of the buns.
Best of the buns. We have 14 releases. And, as this month of January is coming to a close, we just saw it fit to, just put something out, start here, give a little bit of our roundup of this month. And then going further, we'll have some other kinds of content, do some other stuff,
Yeah.
just have a good time. Let's just begin. I
Yeah.
don't think these are in a particular order on here, but I can we can make it that way. I kind of know when they came out, so we'll kind of go
Sure.
roughly chronological here. I don't know the exact dates, but 14 albums, 1 month's worth of music. Let's see what we got. First up, we got Lil Baby with Wham, which came out. I want to say like just a few days into the year. It
Yeah,
was
like
the first. It was the
it,
first big release of the year.
it might have been like January 2nd or
Yeah, it
something.
was super early. Let's just say kicking off the year to a I'm just gonna say a hella mid start.
Absolutely abysmal.
It's not a great,
This
not not
album is cheeks.
not. And like the problem is like I mean you got like Lil Baby is just like the kind of guy who clearly has no care in doing anything new.
Yeah.
Like he's just so comfortable in his space that it's like to the point where it's like the detriment. It's to the detriment of his creativity.
It's formulaic and it just also does not sound good.
No, like
It's consistently bad.
the songs just like I feel like they're mixed badly. His vocal delivery is just like garbled to all hell. I feel like every release of his, he's just like his delivery is just more messy. There's like barely any chorus in sight on like half the songs.
Yeah.
The lyric, I mean, the features don't even outshine him. The features are generally also bad. I think like maybe Future had a decent verse. Young Thug had a decent verse in that song on
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber, but like is that really the first verse we want to hear after Young Thug gets out of jail? Like he's capable of way more than that
It's a good
fucking
point.
song, dude.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to talk about Wham all that
it
much.
sits comfortably in the buns
I
tier.
think I think it sits in the buns
Very
tier.
comfortably.
It's just like I mean, like Lil Baby just has an inability to grow a ton as an artist.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, and it's not like he hadn't had good songs. Like Yes Indeed with Drake was a nice song. I think his Drip Too Hard was a banger at the time.
It's iconic.
That was an iconic song. Grace. I don't know if you know Grace. It was off his album from 2021, My Turn, or 2020, and I think his style on there worked so well. It had like a dreamy aesthetic to it. It was really cool. But then there's only a handful of those in the entirety of Lil Baby's catalog.
Yeah.
It's like that's it. So generally, he makes pretty ass albums, and Wham is no different. Wham is a Buns album.
Totally buns.
First album of the year, and it is a Buns release.
But on a nicer note, let's talk about Bad Bunny's album.
Yeah, so a few days later, I think he dropped on like a Tuesday or like a random
It was a
Thursday.
really random day
It
of
was
the
a
week.
really
Yeah.
random day. I just went on Spotify and
It
he
was Wednesday.
dropped. Okay, you know that it was a
Well,
Wednesday.
you know,
You know that it was a Wednesday.
I have a really strong feeling that it was a Wednesday.
Okay, it does feel like a Wednesday album.
Yeah.
I don't know why it does,
That's
but it feels like a Wednesday.
it's
All right,
probably released on Wednesday.
Bad Bunny. I'm gonna try my best to pronounce this. I do not speak Spanish. Debí tirar más fotos that's what this album is called. I forget what the translation is, but essentially, like the idea is that like it focuses a lot on his Puerto Rican heritage and like what life is like there, and like what his life was like growing up. So I feel like the idea of photos being like stamps of memory is a big aspect of this album.
Yeah, definitely.
And like not to mention like a lot of the production rides on like Puerto Rican culture and like Latin hip hop. And I feel like it stretches into other genres too. It's not like he definitely it feels like a multi-genre album. It doesn't feel like
It
purely
does.
hip hop, doesn't feel like purely pop. There's a lot of like elements of I don't know, like of like I feel like there's some art pop in there. There's some definitely some synth pop, like which all obviously falls under the blanket of Latin pop in general or Latin hip hop, but I feel like it has a nicely versatile sound.
Yeah, I mean, I really only understand this album thematically and sonically. Like, I don't necessarily know what all the lyrics mean because I haven't delved into it at all. But it's a super solid album. It's a fun listen.
And well,
It's really enjoyable.
what's interesting that you're saying that is like he said that. Like he outright said like people the language barrier obviously is going to hinder
Yeah,
what people across the sea or not across the seas, but people like most English speaking people are not going to fully understand the album because a
yeah,
lot of it is so rooted in Puerto Rican culture and like without the language, I mean, without the with the language barrier, you're not going to fully grasp exactly what he's saying.
yeah. I mean,
Even if you see a translation, I feel like it's just the way he's saying it is so important to what to what the album's meaning is.
yeah. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about music is that you don't necessarily need to understand what someone's saying in order to enjoy it.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, I think like as much as this album may be a little bit of a mixed bag at times, I think it has a nice consistent sound, and I think it was a worthy first actual good release of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah. It's definitely it's
Um,
the first quality release of 2025. It's
I would probably, in comparison with all this, I would probably give it a high C to a low B. What do you think?
I think it doesn't belong any lower than B. I think
Sure.
it's super solid and like it's you can tell that a lot of passion. You know,
Yeah. No, I'm fine with that.
it's a really quality album.
I agree. All right, a B tier for the Bad Bunny album. It's
Eh,
like it's
Bad
definitely
Bunny
in the
B.
the a B bad. So next up we have I believe what came around after that was I think same day the Ringo Starr album and
Yeah.
Franz Ferdinand was after.
Yes.
We'll talk about the Ringo first. Ringo Starr, drummer of the Beatles.
Doesn't really
You
need an
may as you
intro.
may know, but I mean like he's had actually a really prolific solo career after the Beatles, which I think people don't even really look at.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, look, there's definitely like a stigma around Ringo Starr's solo music because he didn't write song. He very rarely wrote songs in the Beatles catalog. So, like, think he like his solo career is for a long time probably just looked at as more of like not like a joke, but people didn't take it as seriously as they would John Lennon's, George Harrison's, or Paul McCartney's, who's had the arguably the most amount of releases in his
Yeah.
solo.
Yeah.
But like, so I went into this Ringo album kind of just expecting like this old dude who's not really keeping up with the times all that much. But I mean, he's also kept really healthy too.
Yeah.
He recently said that he's never tried pizza.
Never tried pizza
Never
yet.
tried
We
pizza.
talked about that the other
Maybe
day.
that's why he's held up so
That's
well.
that could be a reason he's still alive and kicking. It's probably because he hasn't eaten
I mean,
pizza.
he's he's dyed his hair, but like the dude looks amazing for low 80s.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually pretty
It
incredible.
is.
But yeah, I mean, like I wasn't expecting greatness from this album, but honestly, coming out of it, like
It's dude.
it's Ringo making a country album, but it's like the best thing he could have made at this point in his career.
It's I'll say this. It's good. It's not great. I mean,
No, it's not. Of
it's
course, not
definitely
great, bro.
it's definitely better than anyone was expecting, which
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
good.
I just think like for me, like it's obviously easy listening music. It's just like totally
Yeah,
like
it's not complicated.
no,
You can understand it on the first listen.
yeah, but
Um,
it's like it's just like nice to listen to. It's
yeah,
kind of like that, like
it's
almost like background music, but like
generally pleasantly sounding.
yeah. So I
When you
mean, I think
throw
that's
it
really the
on,
most there is to say really about it. Like I think the songwriting is pleasant. I think some of the lyrics on tracks that are very reflective. are nice sounding. Like the last track, I think that song was called "Thank You." He's
Yeah,
basically saying like, "Thank you to just all the people that got me here," and I feel like it's a really nice sentiment, especially when like looking at the fact that you harken way back to the Beatles time where they would write some songs for him so you could have vocal parts. It almost feels like he's like saying thank you for the music in a
yeah. I
way.
mean, it's definitely a sweet album. It's not as introspective
No, it's
as I'd
not.
like it to be.
But like I didn't expect it to
For
be.
what it is though, like it is, it's probably gonna be like his last thing.
I don't know.
Probably.
He's so
Most
alive, bro.
likely
He's
he's
so alive.
he's an energetic
He
old
is.
man,
No,
but
he is.
uh
I don't know.
I
I mean,
mean,
I think it's a really solid album, but I would give it like C tier.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
That's rightfully where it belongs, you
yeah.
know. Very average.
Again, it's the best thing he could have done at this point in his
Yeah,
career. At least the
I'll agree with that.
at least it sounds good.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
true.
thing. All right, so next up we have The Human Fear by Franz Ferdinand. I'm going to preface this by saying they dropped 3 singles in promotion for this album. It was Audacious, Night or Day, and then a couple days before the album came out was the absolutely monumental Hooked. That song was just so fucking good.
It's fire.
It was like, dude, it reminds me of Gorillaz. It's like Gorillaz could have made
Yeah,
that song.
it's super catchy.
And like that
It's
like synth bass is just so distinct. It feels so distinctly like Gorillaz.
yeah, it's interesting because like it's super unique off the album, but it does still sound like Franz Ferdinand,
Yeah, totally.
which is, that's great. That's what experimental music should be.
Well, they're never gonna drop that indie rock aesthetic that was
Yeah,
really popular at the time, like with the Strokes and contemporary bands in that from that sort of like same cloth, I guess. They're all kind of cut from the same cloth. But
yeah,
the fact that they're still doing really quality stuff that really feels distinctly like them 20 years into their careers is just really nice to see.
yeah. I mean, this is a ridiculously solid album, even if there's some tracks that probably wouldn't go back to
Well, I
alone,
think it
but
falters a bit in the second half for sure.
yeah, but I would still listen to the full album rather than pick out a couple songs.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. I mean, I although I will say like a song like Audacious, I genuinely think is perfect. It's incredible rock. It has such a catchy chorus. It's such a powerhouse of a song. And then there's certain tracks that like Black Eyelashes, which is just like super bizarre sounding. Like I've never really heard anything like I've never heard them do anything like that.
It's pretty starkly different from everything
For
else
sure. Yeah.
that they've done and also on this album. But
Yeah, I mean, but I do think like songs like I don't know, Cats or the last track, I feel like they add like nothing. Like they're
that's
just like
fair.
they're just there,
Yeah.
and it's fine. Like they don't not every song has to be this big statement, but I just feel like a lot of them sound just pretty mundane. It's a nice listen. I don't think it's definitely not perfect, nowhere near that right now.
Yeah, there's some seriously catchy stuff on
No,
there.
absolutely. For me, I would go high C, low B.
Uh, I put a I put it like probably where Bad Bunny's album is,
Okay, so
like
B.
maybe like slightly above it in my opinion, but
All right, we
it's
can do that. Yeah, I mean,
order doesn't necessarily matter right now.
I prefer it to Bad Bunnies anyways. So
Oh, okay then.
I prefer it a little
Perfect.
bit to Bad Bunnies, but I'd still like still on the lower end of B in my opinion.
Sure. Why not?
Why not? Why not? Next up, I think we got Ethel Cain's album.
Oh,
All right, look,
I don't even want to talk about it.
no, but look. Ethel Cain has been a very talented person, and obviously that does shine through on this. Like her ideas are super ambitious. The way she stretches into the drone music scene was very unique. Her lyrics, I think, are definitely something to behold. I think there's a lot of symbolism in there. It just I don't know if I said the album title. The album's called Perverts, so immediately off the bat, it's a very evocative
Yeah, it's
topic.
it's about intimacy and
Yeah, and just I feel like it like the songs feel so isolating,
yeah,
almost actually to the detriment of the songs. Like they just feel so empty.
not
But
almost like
but then you
yes.
you like flip that on its head. Like it's done. That idea is done so well that you feel like
It's
you're just like alone listening to this music, but to the point where the music literally just feels like desolate. Like there's nothing you really want to go back to there.
listen. I think it's done a bit too well
Yeah,
to where I don't find myself getting lost in the song. I find myself getting bored.
well,
Why is
it
this
doesn't help.
8 minute song that feels like I'm sitting in an abandoned building watching dust collect around me? Like
Yeah.
it's just not enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
definitely see why some people would enjoy it. 'Cause I like some drone music myself, but like for me, this there's just something about this album that just it just the best way to say it just feels so empty at times.
it's teetering between droning and literally nothing. Where like there's sections of the album that just don't sound like anything at all. So I personally didn't really like the album at all. I thought yeah, it's creative,
I'm gonna
sure.
say I feel like I do understand why people like stuff like this.
Yeah,
I don't I totally get
I'm
it.
not bashing anyone if they
No,
like it.
no, I know that. I get why people like it. I think it is unique in its sound. I think like Ethel Cain's presence on the album is pretty
Minimal,
haunting. What?
minimal.
Yes, it is minimal. Yes, but it's haunting the way she like a song like "Punish." I think is really good,
Yeah, I mean,
but that's
I'll
also
give
a
you
more
that.
traditional song too.
Yeah,
I think that was a single that she put out last year.
yeah.
So I mean, all in all, I respect the vision for sure.
I
But
feel like
it
Catfished us with that,
what with
with
Punish?
releasing Punish first, and then the rest of it's just like nothing.
It's like 90 minutes. It's really difficult to get through. As an album experience, I probably would have to give this album a D tier.
Yeah, easily. It doesn't belong in buns where
No,
like
of course it does. I don't
it's
even think it
not.
belongs in E. I think there's enough quality
Oh,
there that it's.
I didn't even know we were doing E. That's fine.
Of course, we're doing E.
E for Egbert.
What?
E for Ethel Cain.
That's what I was gonna. I thought you were gonna say that, and you said Egbert.
I probably should have. But yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about something much less boring now.
Okay. What do we got next? Oh, all right. I'd say Felix, Richard
Okay,
Salas.
yeah, great album.
This is a great album. I mean, I think Richard Salas is someone who I don't really know a ton of his catalog because I mean, he's been around for like I think around like a decade at this point, maybe even over a decade. I don't know much of his catalog, but this album it sounds so well put together.
Yeah,
The arrangements are fantastic. The songwriting is great. There's a ton of variation. Like a song for the Broadcasters is a much more up tempo rocking sound, and then you have like the 10-minute what's it called like Masquerade Ball.
I can look it up.
Yeah,
I don't remember the track
second to
list
last song on the
of most of these
album.
albums.
Second to last song on the album. It was like a 10-minute bouncing Masquerade Ball. I think it was called.
Let's see.
Which is like a 10-minute piece with like the second half being like purely instrumental. It just came to this.
Bouncing Masquerade Ball.
Yeah. The
That's
second
it's the
half though.
penultimate song.
Yeah, well, basically the conclusion because or the climax. The last song was like 40
Yeah,
seconds, but the way Bouncing Masquerade Ball built up to this like literally half of the song instrumental climax was just so cool.
yeah.
Done so well.
It's ridiculously well put together, and for an artist who has, I'm not pulling my phone back out again to see how many monthly listeners he
I think he
has.
only had a few thousand.
I was gonna say that it's definitely less than like 25K.
Yeah.
But it sounds super professional,
Yeah.
and I mean, the themes and the lyrics are like super haunting.
Yeah, like and it's framed so brilliantly with like the first song being the kid went missing or something like that, and then the last song the kid has been found.
Yeah, it's a full circle.
And with the idea that with like recurring motifs in those songs, but like the idea that I think like a lot of the album actually deals with he and his partner losing their unborn child,
Yeah,
which is obviously like super traumatic. And the way that's dealt with in the music, and I think he deals with it and connects it with his own
identity.
identity and in like
It's
naivete
impressive.
being lost. So like the kid being like a stand-in for his
Yeah.
I mean for his naivete in the world. Like I feel like a moment like that or a traumatic moment like that is like it changes you.
Yeah.
So I feel like a part of your innocence is just gone forever. So it's almost like trying to reclaim that innocence
Yeah, definitely.
in spite of this trauma. The way he connects that innocence being lost and found again with the loss of his child is it's a really beautiful thing.
It is. It's super well written.
Yeah. Just
And
and yeah, the whole album. It's just done really well. Like
yeah,
every song sounds different.
I was gonna say, not to mention it just sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
cool album cover too, by the way.
Yeah, the colors are beautiful.
Yeah.
No, it's a fantastic album. I would give it A tier.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's great. Yeah.
Probably the lower end of A. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, we'll figure that out.
we'll
We'll
get
figure
there.
that out.
We'll get there.
But I mean, honestly, if there's any like one recommendation, I might say check this one out. I think it's a really cool
Out of
album.
everything here,
Like as something that like you may not have heard about before.
oh yeah,
Like it's a really
yeah.
it's a very small release, but it's
What's
one that deserves a lot more attention.
the least known out of
Yeah,
everything we're talking about
but it deserves a
by
lot more
far?
attention. It's really quality stuff.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have another great album, but a complete 180 in sound. It is "Who Let the Dogs Out" by Lambrini
Hell
Girls.
yeah.
It's just like a sub 30 minute, just absolute powerhouse of garage punk revival. It's just like
It's so
so
fun.
much energy, big dick energy actually. Except it's not because it's a
That's
female band, but you know
that's one of the songs.
that's that's why I said
That's why I
it.
said the joke. This album is ridiculously fun. I've listened to it probably like 2 or 3 more times
Yeah,
since we both listened to it together for the first time.
yeah. It's just
Um,
it's like a moving train that just has
yeah,
so much energy, like flying towards a fucking wall, like Wile E. Coyote, just running toward the wall. But instead of hitting the wall, it like changes paths immediately,
hitting
and
the
like it
wall.
just the energy is just constant. It's like a complete like a perpetual motion machine. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying though? Do you know what I'm saying though? But it's just like it's like unstoppable energy. It just keeps going. Every song, it's so like
Yeah, I know
it's
what you're
so it's so. But yeah, I mean, the energy of this album is unstoppable. Like all the songs have a great balance of just like crudeness and like
yeah,
genuine fun and social commentary.
yeah. It's social commentary. It's a little political at times,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It's
No, it's
fun.
just it's absurdly fun.
It it pokes fun at the political systems and social constructs
And guys, just men,
and men,
just men.
how dumb men are.
How absolutely stupid we are.
Yeah,
We're fucking so dumb.
bricks over here.
Like, what are we talking about?
Um,
What are we doing?
but you're right. It's nonstop energy. It's probably the most entertaining record
Yeah.
ever. But that's a huge pro to
No, it's
have.
like sub. It again. It's not even 30 minutes long, so
Yeah,
it's just nonstop, like replayable.
yeah. But to have an album that is that densely packed with energy,
Yeah.
they're all great,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's a really fun listen.
Absolutely.
It would be my number one recommendation off of everything we've
Really. No,
covered
I mean
and
that's
everything
totally
we both covered.
that
Yeah,
is totally fair. Yeah. It's a very fun album.
yeah.
Leave it at that. I would give it like a high B
High
tier.
B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, we'll do the Weather Station album, Humanhood by the Weather Station. Oh, so it's another human album, like the Franz Ferdinand one. On first listen, I thought a lot of the compositions were pretty uninteresting. It's like the arrangements are really
And
cool, like
they are.
the arrangements with like the orchestral arrangements with the synth based stuff the fusions were really nice, but the songwriting wasn't like particularly there. Like it just felt like a lot of the songs kind of were meandering
Yeah.
with this like didn't have a lot of energy to them. But then I got to the last song, "Sewing," and it to me that like maybe my favorite song of the year so far. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous
You're
closer.
crazy for that one. Absolutely crazy.
It's an incredible song. It's absolutely
It's
incredible.
it's fine.
No, it's an incredible
Don't listen to
song.
this propaganda. It's not as good as he's typing it up to be.
No, it's an incredible. I think it's an incredible song, and there are some other great songs on the album too. "Lonely" is an example of that. But like, I think conceptually the record is great. Just how it's like kind of like distills the pure essence of humanhood and just like what we are. I did it like that on purpose. It wasn't an accident. I meant to say it. The weather station. No, I think there's some great songs. I think conceptually it is it's done really well. I think the biggest detriment of the album is that the songwriting is not always there.
I liked Lonely.
I like the
That was
narration,
it.
"Irreversible Damage." I think that like narrative song was really cool.
I think even with the last song, being super well written and like technically changing the context of the rest of the album, it's not doing enough for me. Like I still feel like it's a really mundane
It
listen, which
no
I feel like an album shouldn't be that
no
ever.
I like
It's
I
it's
get
the
it.
same critique I have with Ethel Kane, except this is a lot better.
This is definitely a lot better. I think conceptually it's really good. I think like just the concept, and I think it's done in the writing, lyrical writing. It's done well. It's the songwriting that gets me.
Yeah,
Like without the lyrics, it's the like the music writing itself. Like even the production's really solid.
yeah, I
But
agree
it's
with
just
that.
like a lot of the songs just don't really stick.
Yeah,
Mirror is a nice song. That's I think it's a nice like shorter song, but to me a lot of the time it's the longer ones that are just harder to get through because like they just like don't really they feel really stagnant at times. Like there's not like a lot changing, a lot going on. It's just kind of just keeps going for like 5 minutes.
yeah. I mean, I'd probably put this into like low C.
Low C, come on.
Yeah,
I'd say high C, come on.
like the drink.
It's just like the drink.
High
And if
C's.
we're actually going to talk about the, we both started talking about the drink. No, I mean it's on the low end of the orange drinks in my opinion.
Okay,
Fanta
sure.
orange, I would take over it.
Obviously, anything with carbonation.
I would take no sun. Is it wait?
Sunny.
Is that purposeful? High C, Sunny D. Like what's next? Ethel E. Fun F. I would like almost give it low B. I prefer it to. I actually prefer this album to Franz Ferdinand and Bad Bunny
You're hearing it here for the first time,
because I
but
think
you
the
will. The crazy, crazy take. It's not better than either of the albums you just said.
I think it is, but whatever. We'll group it. We'll just a group opinion. We'll do the high end of the C tier for that one. Moving on. Next up, we have "Louder Please" by
Holy moly, dude.
Rose Gray.
Another snooze fest.
Dude, it's a little uninteresting.
I kind of forgot that this is the whole month is just kind of blah.
All
Or
right.
most of it.
It's January, dude. It's always boring. It's pretty. All right. It's pretty uninteresting. Just like
It's generic,
a like dance pop, like electro
boring. I
pop.
don't even care if it's like trying to capture like the Y2K essence. It doesn't really do that, and it's also boring. There's some songs on there that I'm like, okay, I could probably like bob my head to this for 5 seconds.
I think it's a solid album.
I think it's a solid L.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't think it's that bad?
I don't
Bro.
think it's good.
It's like mid at
I
worst.
don't think it's quality.
It's mid at worst. I don't know. I think there's some.
I think it's like teetering between mid and bad.
Come on, come on. It's not that bad,
It kind of pissed me off listening to it.
dude. It's like a 40-minute album, bro.
Yeah, 40 minutes of boring.
Dude, come on.
I genuinely think it could just be like a lot more entertaining.
Yeah,
And,
like, but it's not like it's just mid.
it's
It's
not
mid at worst,
it's
dude.
not well done. It's not well done. I would give it D tier. D for
Whatever,
diapers.
dude. I'll give it D tier.
D for
I would literally
dookie.
consider
D for
I would literally consider like
dog
low
treats.
B on this one.
Oh, B.
Yeah.
You can't be serious right now.
I'm completely serious.
Wow. No.
I'm kidding.
All right, good.
No, I would consider it like low C though. But
Wasn't D tier right now?
Ethel Kane.
I think it belongs above Ethel Cain, but I
Whatever,
don't think it
dude.
belongs in the C tier.
Whatever. I think it would be in C tier, but whatever. I think
Well,
it's
you know what they say.
I think it's a solid album,
You know
dude.
what they say.
Bro, it's just like it's like it's a fine album. It's solid. The
Yeah,
songs are
sure, it's fine. It's not
the
good
songs are
though.
like decently catchy.
I wouldn't call them catchy, dude.
Some of them are.
It feels like it's like trying so hard to be like what pop is supposed to be. Do you know what I mean?
This is a way better version of no, I'm not gonna say it.
Of what?
It's like a way better version and a little less generic than 143 by Katy Perry. Why are you looking at me like you like that album?
No, I don't. I
That
think
album's stinky, bro.
Yeah, it's bad.
Although that Jid verse on Artificial is actually goated.
Yeah, it's the only good part of the album. She's not part of it.
No, her part on that song sucks too.
Yeah.
All right.
Fine. You can put it low.
I'm putting it low C. Putting it low C. It's fine being
You
in the
ever
middle
had
of
that drink? Low C? It's horrible.
So was it like low on sugar? It sounds like it's healthy.
What's the next album?
Next album is gonna be Balloonerism, Mac Miller. By the way, so you look at the camera
I'm
like
kidding,
like
I'm
you
kidding.
know like you're like, well, this guy over here. What is this guy thinking? Like this
I
guy.
no, this album is like super solid.
This album's really good, bro. This album's great. Obviously, there is kind of the ethical question with
Yeah.
a posthumous release. So I mean, like you have last year, Juice WRLD's like third or fourth posthumous album.
The party never ends.
Yeah, which was trash.
Yeah.
And like that's an example of it feeling like a pure money grab, scraping the absolute bottom of the barrel of Juice WRLD tracks.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously these songs were never intended to be released because they're not good songs.
Yeah.
However, Circles, way back in 2020, which came out like about a year or around a year after Mac Miller died, it was a nearly finished album that was meant to come out.
Yeah.
I don't think that brought in any sort of ethical question because it was a beautiful release and something that felt like it needed to be heard by the world. An album like Balloonerism is almost in the same camp where it was pretty complete in 2014 when it was recorded. It was something that supposedly Mac had been talking about wanting to put out for a long time, but just other projects got sidelined because of some other projects that maybe the label wanted more, maybe his attention shifted to other things. I don't know. It's very vulnerable.
Definitely.
It's really, and I think it's really well put together.
The team who is handling all of Mac Miller's stuff is doing the best job they can.
That's very true.
And like personally, I don't see any unethical.
Yeah, I mean,
concerns
I think
here now.
Yeah,
because every gripe I have with this album is just like purely my own opinion, like just like personal preferences and things. Like I just found it to be like kind of boring at times. Like the long lengths of some of the songs, just
I
like
thought you were going to say like, well, okay. If speaking about that, the 11-minute song at the end,
it's good.
But it's like you kind of have to revel in that length because it's kind of part of the feeling of it.
I mean, I get that's the point. It's just personally not something for me. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I get it.
Most of this album.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the first half of the album has a lot of problems, like, and not even really like overt problems. It's just it's just songs that I think are not some of the best that he's had.
Yeah,
I think something like DJ Chord Organ is really cool because I love the opening with Daniel Johnston's own chord organ that Mac Miller had after he did the 15-minute documentary of Daniel Johnston several years ago, which is a really cool thing to hear because it sounds so much like Daniel Johnston. And when you have two very tortured artists, it kind of is almost like feels like a torch passing kind of thing. Which I think is really cool. But that song like barely even has Mac Miller on it. SZA is the only one that has a verse.
Yeah.
So, and it's as much of a nice song as it is. It's not a very replayable one for me. Then you have a song like "Do You Have the Destination" or I think that's what's called. Do you know the destination? Something like that. I don't love a lot of the background vocals. I think they're kind of grating at times, and clearly Mac's singing has gotten a lot better. Where just my point is that I think the first half falters a little bit. Although I love the song "Friendly Hallucinations," the production and the percussion on that song, like the jazzy chords in the background. Oh my god, it's so nice. I think that's a fantastic song.
Every
But
time we talk about this album, this is what gets brought up. The singular moment from this singular song.
no, but it's not just that. The background, the background
I know.
instrumental is so nice, but it is those first few moments that is actually like my favorite
It's
part of the entire album.
it's a great album. I
But
like objectively, like I can see that it's super quality.
right,
It's just like personally, I just thought it was a bit droning at times in a way that does not hold my attention.
I guess second half of the album though is what I was getting to. Is just to me it's phenomenal. Funny Papers is an incredible jazz rap song. Then there's like Excelsior, which is an incredible. I've never actually known if I'm pronouncing that right.
Excelsior?
Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know.
Okay. Sounded like you were confident the way you were saying it just now.
That was the point of the joke.
Okay, I didn't actually even know if it was a joke. I thought you were just trying to pronounce it too.
Excel.
Excelsior. I know it's like isn't that like a
Uh,
sword? That's like a sword, right?
you're thinking of Excalibur.
I am. What is Excelsior?
You want me to look it up?
Because
I'll look it up.
Slauson Malone, he has an album called Excelsior.
Used in the name of hotels, newspapers, and other products to indicate superior quality. They stayed at
What?
the Excelsior. Softwood shavings used for packing fragile goods or stuffing furniture.
Dude, that's not it, bro.
Stuffing, a mixture used to stuff poultry or meat before cooking. Hold
But
on.
why would Slauson Malone have an album called that too? There's got to be a reason. Look up what this, like what it is like symbolically or something.
Excelsior comes from Latin ex, out, beyond, Celsus, high, lofty. Excelsior therefore means something like even higher or ever higher.
That's it.
It's the motto of New York.
New York.
The Big
Forget
Apple.
about it. Hey, I'm walking here. That's like all I got.
Bacon, egg, and cheese
New York pizza.
on an everything bagel.
Sure. But yeah, no, that's a great song. Excelsior is a great song. A song like Rick's Piano is also fantastic. Mannequins is great. And then the 11-minute ambient piece at the end is just really haunting stuff.
I'm thinking B for balloonerism.
Come on, dude. It's an A tier. Come on, give me that. This is my album of the year so far. This album's so good, dude. It's going A. Give me that one.
Okay.
Next up, we have another album you're going to be pissy about. Jasmine 4T, You Are the Morning, is a nice debut folk record. Not supposed to be something super ambitious, but it has a nice sound. It has some nice songwriting. It has some nice arrangements.
I've played these games before.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, bro.
It means I've heard this album before. It's like
You
it's
have it. Tell me an album that it sounds like right now.
anything from Phoebe Bridgers because she helped produce it and she's literally on it.
That's close. That's definitely close.
Or like,
But I don't think it's quite like biting the
Gracie
sound.
Abrams type
It
shit.
is not. That is not like Gracie Abrams. Gracie Abrams is not.
It's like the
even
same
remotely
like
folk.
general
Dude,
vicinity.
Gracie Abrams
of,
is not even remotely folk.
Dude,
She's just like white bread pop music.
That's what this is.
No, it isn't.
That's what this is.
But it's not pop
That's
music.
what this is. I mean, no, like I'll stop bashing on the album for a second because like thematically it's actually really good, and I think the themes of like self acceptance and love is like really good.
I think like some of the qualities of Jasmine singing and songwriting evokes like a lot of like I don't know like 70s folk stuff like Nick Drake or Simon and Garfunkel even at times like especially on the opening track. I think while certain songs do lean toward the more generic side, I think Elephant is a great example of that.
For me, it evokes a lot of sleepy time and snoring.
Your name should not be Ben, it should be Angry Guy Who Doesn't Like Fun.
No, this album it's like solid,
All right.
and I'm just harping on it because I think that's like a fun thing to do.
Look, man,
I think
would
it's a good B tier album.
Really, you would
Yeah,
say okay?
it's
Yeah,
B.
I think it's definitely B.
Jokes aside, it's solid. It's just like I genuinely think it sounds like a lot of music I've heard
I
before,
mean, but
and
not
I
everything
wish,
has to be the most original thing out there.
yeah, but when there's so much stuff coming out that sounds the same, like I feel like uniqueness and like having character. I wish it was a little more unique.
I
Sue
get
me.
that. I think
I
some of the songs though are written really nicely. Breaking in Reverse is a really nice song.
fallen in reverse.
Kitchen is a super nice song. Like it's such a nice opener. I think the closing song's
It's
really solid too.
like there's a lot of potential there. Just put in the comments if ketchup sucks.
In my opinion, ketchup's nasty, and
It's not nasty. Who's going to a restaurant and ordering a burger?
that's actually really true. I don't
It's
generally do
it's
that. And if I was to order a burger in a restaurant, it would be like a special kind. It would be one that has like some special sauce on it. You
yeah,
know
like
what I
an
mean?
aioli type thing.
No, like yeah. Red
I
Robin has this
agree.
really good like what
What burger are you about to say?
scorpion.
Yes,
Bro, you know that
it's
one?
really good. So the next album is what?
Next album. Oh, we got some. Okay, got a couple solid ones next. We have Eusexua by FKA Twigs.
Actually, good album. Here we go.
Yeah, it's a really good album. I think. Like, I mean, we've talked about it before, but I think FKA Twigs has. She's a little hit or miss for me. She like I love I love her avant-garde style of EDM and pop music, but to me sometimes it stretches into kind of just like the inaccessible direction.
Hmm.
Not even just that, but like I think her first album is just like LP1. It's a widely loved album, but there's something about it that just makes me not really want to come back to it. I don't know if that's the sound or the songwriting itself, because I think sometimes her songwriting just isn't phenomenal to me. Like her 2022 mixtape Capra Songs is a pretty boring album in my opinion. But then sandwiched between those is Magdalene, her 2019 sophomore album, which is fantastic. And rounding that all off, I think Eusexua, being her third studio album, is almost as good as Magdalene was.
I mean, this is the only album by FKA Twigs that I've listened to. Um, but it's like generally really good. It's I've said this a million times already. Well, not today, not on here. That it just sounds like slightly,
Subdued Charlie XCX.
yeah,
I think it's a
in a good
mix.
way though.
No, I know. I mean, it's like a hazier version in a way. Like I would say like a good comparison is like a subdued Charlie XCX with kind of the artsy side of Bjork. I think that's a pretty good comparison. But like in general, I think the versatility on this album is great. You have some like fun bangers like childlike things with Northwest rapping in Japanese,
Yeah,
which is just such
what an
a
interesting
bizarre thing,
choice.
but like I fuck with it.
It works.
Um, then you have something like the drum and bass striptease, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Something I love about the song, and I don't know if we've talked about it before. I love how like energetic and fast paced the instrumental is, but she's going so much slower than it all.
Oh yeah.
Like she's going so slow over this faster instrumental, which is a really unique choice that creates such a distinct vibe. It's
Yeah.
such an interesting vibe to that song.
It's a really cool sounding song though.
Yeah, no, it totally
It's
is. And then
awesome.
like paired with like near acoustic closer Wanderlust is awesome. I think her voice is super powerful on that. No, I mean just overall, it's not a perfect album, but it's great.
Yeah,
It's a great album. I
I
would give
agree.
it low B, high C. I mean high A. No, not low B. Sorry, high
Low
B, low
low
A.
A. I put it low A. I
I'll go
think
low A.
the quality definitely
Yeah,
shines through. Like you can tell there's a lot of thought and care put into it.
no, for sure. The production's fantastic. Her performance on there is really unique. I think it's a great addition to her catalog. Up next,
Mogwai.
Mogwai, The Bad Fire. 10 tracks, nearly all instrumental. It's the post rock electronic band's 11th studio album, and I think through just being instrumental, I think the narrative power of the record really shines through.
I agree. There's a lot of storytelling done with just instruments, and it's really impressive.
Yeah, like the first couple songs, God Gets You Back, and then High Chaos feels like such an introduction of the chaotic world.
Yeah.
Like to me, like what I think of, because this album feels like it has a very linear path where it goes from something like that, those couple songs, to in the middle you have these really like almost like desolate wasteland sounding songs where it feels so empty in the sense
Yeah.
that like it's gonna build to something more. Like
Yeah.
it has a trajectory.
Unlike Ethel Kane, this is like instrumental music done right
Yeah.
in like the best way possible. I love this album.
No, it's really cool stuff. Like I feel like, and then like coming off that are some more up tempo, more hopeful sounding songs toward the back half. But I think the neat bow that makes this album work so well is the last like 20 seconds of the closer, or last like minute or so, slowly falls into like a dissonant conclusion,
Yeah.
which is interesting because it comes off some more hopeful songs, and then that dissonant conclusion brings you back, and you're like, oh wow, after this big hopeful ending, it's like
Like you're
just gonna
still really
go.
there.
It's what'd you say?
Like you're still there.
Yeah, you're still there. It's like a cyclical thing. You go
Yeah.
right back into the chaos again. I take this as being something like these giant cultural shifting moments, like COVID
Yeah.
being introduced and everything changing, but then we slowly bounce back because that's what we do. It's just as humans we bounce back, but something's going to happen again. It's just like
Yeah.
by nature of the world, there's going to be chaos. There
Yeah.
would not be order if chaos didn't exist.
It's a really good album about the world.
Yeah.
And you don't really get that all that often.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
I
again, going through all just like instrumental passages, doing like communicating that purely through almost purely through instruments is a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean I would personally put it as my album of the year so far.
Yeah, I'd
And
put it in A.
I think it's
I'm happy to put it
an
top
A.
A.
Sure.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah, I mean it's I think it's like right around Mac Miller for me. Like they're both probably tied in my head. I just think like the highs of Mac Miller's album are higher than this. So a little disclaimer on this last one. It
We've
came
only
out
listened to it
today.
once.
Came out today. I've done some re-listening on some. Yeah, on this day of recording.
A full listen we've only done once each.
Yeah. On this day of recording. I don't know when this is gonna come out. The Weeknd dropped his final studio album. Hurry Up Tomorrow. It's been long anticipated. It's the third album in his quasi trilogy that consisted of After Hours, Dawn FM, which I wasn't a crazy fan of, and then this final one, Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is a 90-minute epic of pop music. And I think it does feel like that. It feels like a really huge and epic
Yes.
album. It definitely made sense that he wanted to conclude his career on this.
Yeah. I get
Like
that.
he wanted to put everything into this one. And obviously like the production is super high quality. The synth sounds so powerful. But when you have 22 songs all caked in reverb and like similar song structures, it does get really tedious.
There's that classic weekend sound that kind of just like goes throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, but
And
like generally, I
it's
like that sound a lot. After
generally
Hours is
speaking, yeah.
After Hours, in my opinion, is an amazing album. I think it's really, really good.
It like you just feel the length in this album.
Yeah, you definitely
Like
do. Like when I was going back to listening to some songs after I finished the album, they were better than in the album
Yeah.
because everything blended together a lot more in the 90-minute
it
experience.
just shouldn't feel like a chore
No.
to go through an album like this. And it's a shame that it is because like probably like 80% of the songs on there are like really good.
No, totally. Actually, another thing, like some people say, like, oh, you don't have to listen to it all the way through. Well, like
Dude,
it's an album.
course you do.
It's like a movie. It's like you're kind of it's one body of work.
But we've talked about this. This is just like the difference, the big difference in how people view music
Yeah.
as just like individual songs versus albums.
And they're both valid ways of doing it. Yeah, I mean, I think as a whole, I probably would have enjoyed this album if I had listened to it in two separate parts, honestly.
Yeah, or if it was actually divided up.
Or if
Or
he
if there
just
was
chopped
some
and got rid
songs
of
missing from here.
got rid of like the 8 8 less interesting songs on the album. It would have been a
8.
lot better.
Yeah.
No, just like if he cut down a third of the album, I think it
I
would
would
have
say
been
like 6
okay. Well, I'm saying if he cut down a third of the album, I think it
or
would have
maybe
been
4. It is quality. It's just a shame that like it's so damn long
yeah. I
and it's
think
kind of just annoying to get through it.
I don't know if I would give it a B tier. I might give it like
Like
high
really,
C.
really, I would comfortably put it in like the middle of B because like I
All
think
right.
it's good. There's just like some glaring problems that keep it from being any higher. Give it.
I'm fine with low B because look, we're also going off of this first day of listening.
Yeah, that's true.
And like
They
and
could
you
move.
sexual grew on me a lot since first listen. And
Yeah,
I think if I listen to this album more chronologically, but also just like sporadically, just picking songs, I think it will grow on me. So I think low B is a good spot for it right now.
sure.
I'll do it above Bad Bunny though. I think it could get better than
Yeah,
Bad Bunny.
yeah.
Um, but yeah. All right. So that concludes our January albums tier list. We had 14 of the month, first video of the year, first video on the Quick Pod channel. It's a
Yes.
monumental time. It's great.
I
So
enjoyed talking about these albums, even though I don't like nearly as much of them as you do. I
yeah, but look
think
at this tier list, dude. We're so very very top heavy on this tier list.
we are, but there. I mean, yeah, we are. It, it's
Maybe
been
maybe
it's been a
maybe
decent month.
it's been a decent. I think as January's go, it could be a lot
Really,
worse
really
because
good
most
January.
because a lot of like I mean most artists hold off for their big releases
Yeah,
until later in the year.
there's gonna be a lot of cooler releases
I
down the
think
line.
generally second half of the year has all the best records.
Generally speaking, yeah.
But yeah, all right. So first video of the year, first video of the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed watching as much as we enjoyed doing the video.
Stay tuned. We'll probably release some other stuff soon.
Probably
Probably.
nothing secured. We barely know what we're doing,
That's true.
but I appreciate you guys watching. Have a great week. Any last words, Ben?